the chapter development. Students, in the last video we have studied about how the per capita income is not only the criteria to compare the different countries. Students, we have already seen that we have different countries on the basis of the per capita income according to the World Development Report. According to the World Bank has divided and classified the countries on the basis of, this is a comparison that is done by the World Bank. So how he has done the comparison? On the basis of the income of a country. So income, we know that it is on the basis of the per capita income, per individual's income, and not on the total income of a country, but on the per capita income of a country. So per capita income is also known as average income. Average income, that means the formula that we apply here, the total income of the population divided by the total population. Whatever figure comes, the total income, will calculate it and then will divide it with the number of people living in a country. So students, this is the formula to take out the per capita income. Per capita income is also known as average income, and don't get confused, average income is as same synonym as per capita income. So students, we have seen that according to the World Development Report, that is the classification is done, and World Bank says that we have countries, classification is on the basis of the income of a country, that is a per capita income of a countries. So we have rich countries, we have low middle income countries, and we have the low income countries. This is a criteria that is given by the World Bank. Students, not only the World Bank, we have the other important institutions are there who have made the comparison of different countries, but their parameters are different according to with the World Bank. They have taken the additional parameters also, because considering country to be a rich country with only income would not be the right criteria as these institutions says. So students, when we compare different countries, or you can say state or society or an individual, you can see that different countries have different parameters and different situations, circumstances, the requirement of the people, conditions, natural resources available, and technology available, and the other basic parameters, and the livelihood of the people, what kind of a population they have, maybe more of the skilled people, unskilled people, technologically advanced, educated, more of the healthy people. So population is also one of the criteria to have and compare the countries. When we compare different things, they could have similarities as well as differences. When we are comparing the different countries, we may have similarities also, we may have the dissimilarities also, or differences, dissimilarities, differences. So students, when we talk about the population, every country has a population, but that population may be educated people, illiterate people, literate population, highly literate people, advanced people, technologically skilled people, more with the scientific temperament people, they live in the country. So population, every country has a population, but the people living in a country, what quality they possess, what traits they have, that really matters. Everybody has different climatic conditions, so climate is one of the main feature, but every country has a different climatic conditions. everybody has the quality of the soil of a country may also differ. Somebody may have a very fertile soil, somebody may not have a fertile soil. So that means the country, different countries may have similarities, and they also have some dissimilarities also when we compare the countries. The criteria we use depend upon the purpose of comparison. See, purpose. Anything that we do has a purpose behind it. Without purpose, without any reason, why we are going to compare the countries? So when we talk about the comparison between, there is a purpose behind it. If we people are going to the school, there is a purpose behind it. If you are sitting at home, there is a purpose behind it. I am taking online classes, there is a purpose behind it. So every country has a reason to compare it. See, when everybody is running a race, so there has to be, somebody has to be very good, somebody has to be the last one. Okay, so in that comparison, the people, they wanted to know who are the advanced countries and who are the low income countries, who need more of the priorities are required, more of the attentions required, and they are needed more of the help. So for that, a comparison plays a very important role. The people, the countries which are already advanced, if we donate them rupees, it is of no use. But there are countries who are suffering with the drought and the other natural disasters. If the rich, those people, they help them out, it really becomes beneficial for them and it becomes effective for them. So purpose, there has to be a purpose behind for comparing the different countries. Usually we take one or more important characteristics of person and compare them based on these characteristics. See students, when we people are talking about the comparison, we are talking about a purpose. Our purpose is to live and lead a very good life, a quality life, and to have a better standard living and the all-round development of a personality of an individual. So there are other parameters are also required. Suppose if I say, if a person has income, has money, but he is not educated, or he is not keeping healthy, and he remains sick all the time, or he may be a bedridden. So what kind of a quality life that he is leading? He is living alone, he may not have a friendship, the friend circle. So what kind of a life that he is leading? He may have money, he cannot buy the friends with the money. He may have people around them, best doctors and nurses to take care of him, the best hospital, best medical facilities, but to support him, to help him out at the bad times, all that friend circle or a friendship would not be available to him. So there are many things that you cannot buy with the money. There is a pollution all around. See, everybody has a money. In this pandemic situation, when COVID-19, so many people are dying, death toll is very high. At this time, everybody is ready to spend money. Why the people are dying? Are they not having money to spend and to get the medicines? Yes, they have money, but we have seen that money is not only, it is only a materialistic thing. So money in your pocket cannot stop the COVID-19, the spread of COVID-19. So we can say that even the billionaire also, if the money is there with them, they cannot cure themselves. Yes, they can get the best facility, but if they are highly attacked and at the last stage, nobody, even that money cannot save the life of that person, of a millionaire. So students, so everything is, money cannot buy everything. I wanted to say that money in your pocket cannot buy everything that you want. So That means money is really an important aspect, but yes, there are other parameters are also there and other characteristics are also there. They also really plays a very important role. So you can see that ultimately we come to a conclusion that income is considered to be one of the most important attribute for comparison between the different countries. Yes, it is only a one attribute, it is only a one factor to compare the different countries. It is not only the attribute, but it is one of the attribute to compare the different countries for the development. On the scale of development, income is only one attribute, it is only one factor, it is only one component that may decide that the country is developed or it is not developed. There are other characteristics, other factors are also required to compare the different countries. So students, you can see that there are other parameters, other scales are also there through which you can measure. So measuring the development, how you are going to measure the development. See student, in the last video we have studied about the GDP. I have discussed about the GDP, gross national product, and the national income of a country. And the World Bank says that the national income of a country cannot be taken as a criteria to make a comparison between the country. We don't take the entire national income of a country because in that income, whatever it is earned, there are other things are also the government spend on different other factors also in constructing the dams. So dam will not, the money that is spent there on a dam will not be calculated. So whatever the expenses that we people have, whatever we people are producing with the three sectors in a financial year, that is basically calculated. So we'll see here what would be all the three important parameters. You can see that we have gross national product, we have gross domestic product, and we have gross national income of a country. Okay, so students will take these one by one. How we are going to measure? Measures of the total value of the officially recorded goods. Officially recorded goods. You know that students, we have some institutions which are registered with there are some companies and manufacturing units which are registered with the government. There are many people are there, household people are there who are manufacturing, and they are manufacturing the goods at home and they are selling it out, and they don't have, the country is not having any record, or maybe their firm or the company or that unit may not be registered with the government. So officially recorded manufacturing units, their products, goods and services, products means goods and services produced by the citizens and corporations, big huge units of a country in a given year, in a particular session. That particular session includes things produced inside and outside the country's territories. That all comes as gross national product. Suppose we have any industry, our one branch of making the vehicles, motor vehicles or multi-utility vehicles, we have one branch is available in the Australia. They are also manufacturing. That income would also be included in the national. You can see it is there, gross national total income. So whatever units that we people have in the other countries, also the branches of Indian institutions, if they are there many units are there. Suppose we have different schools are also there. Okay. So when we are talking about the schools, our branches are there. So DWPS branches are there, DPS branches are also there. Those institutions are also earning money. Okay, so those institutions, their income is also their services. They are giving services. We are giving services. So their income is also included in a particular session, in that particular financial year. What is the financial year? The financial year starts from 1st April to 31st of March. 1st April to 31st of March. Okay, 1st April to 31st of March. This complete cycle is a official year in a given year. So that is the gross national product. That is gross national product. Students, in domestic, you can see that within the country, there is a difference between these two. It is national product and it is domestic product. Okay, you can see that measure of the total value of the officially recorded goods and services produced by the citizens and the corporations of a country in a given year. Up to here it is, you can see that, and this is extra. Okay, this is the only difference you have. Domestic within the territory, within our own country, whatever manufacturing units we have, whatever service centers that we people have, the service sector that we people have, their income, the country, the branches which are outside or in the other countries, their income is not added in the GDP, domestic, gross domestic product. But when we calculate the nationally, when we calculate it through of the entire country, then we say national, otherwise GDP. So we have a gross domestic product. Here we have not included in GDP, we don't include which are produced outside. Okay, which are produced outside, we just include only inside the country. We include whatever is produced inside the country in GDP. Okay, domestic. You can see that. You must have heard about, we have a domestic flights within the country. If you want to go from Delhi to Mumbai, domestic flight. If you want to come from Goa to Mumbai or from Delhi, Visakhapatnam to Delhi, so it is within the country. We are moving within the country. Okay, so that is domestic flights. So within the country, whatever we people are producing and services that is provided, those come under all that value, the entire value. You can see value, VALU, it is hidden here, value. See that it is all equal by the citizens. Okay, so we have the GDP, gross domestic product, gross domestic product. Okay, now we'll come to the income of a country. Okay, how we measure is measure of the monetary worth of what is produced, monetary worth, value. Worth means value. Value what is produced within a country. Within a country, okay, within a country, plus income received from investment outside the country. Whatever investment we have done outside, we have made a school, we have made manufacturing units or offices or other things that we have, all those investment and that income, their income is included. Okay, most common measurement used today. Okay, so whatever monetary aspect value that we have produced within the country, outside the country, that total value of the goods and services within the country and outside the investment that we have made in the other countries, that income every year that we people are drawing, okay, that is known as, it is gross. You can see that gross. It is not every year, you can see that. It's not every year, okay. So whatever investment that we people have made there, okay, once we make an investment, every year we don't make an investment. Once industry is made, though we have purchased a land, every day we are not purchasing a land, every year we are not purchasing a land. So that investment that is made on the assets is also come under gross national income. Gross national income. You can see that the meaning of the gross is total income. Gross national income. The total national income. The total domestic product. The total national product. Okay. Gross means the total. Gross means total. So these three parameters are really very important for measuring the development. Different countries may have less development of goods and services, may have a less development outside the country. They may have a less they may have less investment outside. They may not having the different manufacturing plants or institution outside the country. So or may have very few would be there. So everybody's development plans differ from country to country. So students, this three parameters really plays a very important role in measuring the development of a country. So when we talk about the national development comparison really important according to the World Bank. World Development Report is based on the income of a country. So when we talking about the income of a country, the country which has more of the income, they are rich countries. The countries there is a particular figure. If it is the dollar, according to the census of 2017, US dollar 955 per capita income per annum, then we can say that, and below that US dollar 955 per annum income of a person, if or less than that, then those countries come under the low income countries. So you can see the national development comparison. So here we have three important points here. It is easier to compare things when we compare them using a particular criteria or characteristics. Countries with more income are considered more developed than the other countries that have less income. The income of a country is the sum of the incomes of its entire population. Total income of the sum means total income of the entire population. That is per capita income. Then the second is different countries of the world have different population. This is another important criteria and the attribute that we need to consider, that population of different country varies from nation to nation. So total income is not a reliable criteria. If a population, a country where we have only 2 lakh of people suppose, and a country which has 5 lakh of people, and a country which has 50 lakh of people, so income of cannot be considered as a criteria. So the national income of a country or the per capita income of a country of the with the population of 10 lakh and 20 lakh and 15 lakh would differ. So population also not same in every country. So total income is not reliable criteria to compare the national development. A more reliable criteria for comparing the national development is the average income or the per capita income. That is, this is a more reliable. That is why we have not taken the national income of a country. We have taken the per capita income of the country. When we are going to take the per capita income of a country, population is not a matter, because if more of the population, definitely their income would be more, their national income would be more. If we have a less population, calculation would be less. When we are going to divide them, almost it would come to an average population. So we have taken average income or a per capita income as a criteria to judge the country or compare the country, not the total national income of a country. So average income of a country, how you are going to take it out? We have already discussed this formula earlier. Total income of the country divided by population of the country. This we have already discussed earlier, students, that the total income of the people living in a country and the total population is a very important criteria we need to see here. Everybody living in a country may not be earning. There are some population which is counted, children are counted, but they are not earning. The small infants who have taken birth, they are also counted in the population, but they are not earning. They are aged section of the people, or there are some people who have been retired from their jobs. They are also not earning. So, but we take the entire population when we divide the per capita income, when we need to calculate the per capita income. So, to take out the average income of a country, total income of the country should be divided with the population of the country. So, that means the income of all the people living in a country divided by the number of people living in a country, then you will get the average income. Average income is also known as per capita income. Third important criteria you can see here. Based on its per capita income, India falls in the category of low income countries. It falls into low income countries. And the per capita income hides individuals' income disparities. We have seen in the last video that how the per capita income, there were 4 families were there. We have taken country A and country B example, where the country A, in country A, people really have a handsome of the salary, handsome income was there. Whereas in country B, 4 of the families were just earning 500 rupees per annum. So you can see that this disparity of income is also calculated, is also fall into that category. So per capita income is also has a drawback when we when we compare the national development. Countries with the equitable distribution, you can see that, students, we have already seen in country A, they almost had the equitable per annum and the per capita. And when we talk about equitable, somebody is earning 9,500, somebody is earning 10,000, somebody is earning 9,800. So it is almost an equitable income they had, and their condition, definitely their lifestyle and their condition and their living standard, their quality of life would be better than the country B. So you can see that all those countries with the equitable distribution of income have no rich and poor. Everybody's condition would be good. Whereas in country B, we have already seen that 4 of the family, they have per annum income was highlighted there. That wasn't just an example. Only 4 families were just earning 500, 500, 500 and 500 rupees. So, and one person in that family, in that group, in that country, one was earning 48,000 rupees. You can see that, that means when we compare 48,000 with the 500 rupees, definitely there is a vast gap between the income. 48,000 and a person earning only 500 rupees. So it is not an equitable distribution, or it is not equitable income. So one is definitely a poor man who is earning, a family is poor because he is just earning 500 rupees per annum. We are calculating it as a per annum. And one person earning 48,000 rupees. So when we compare this man of 48,000 of country B, his condition would be much better than the people who are living in the country A, because they are just earning 9,000 or 10,000, maximum 10,200 rupees. Whereas in country B, only one family is earning 48,000 rupees. So it is 5 times, his quality life would be 5 times, his income is better than the country A. Now students, there's a method. We have different methods. We are using different methods for comparing the different countries. So one such method that we people were talking about the national development is the national income of a country. It is, what is national income? It refers to the market values of all goods and services which produce in financial year within the country. So students, you can see that it means that GDP, okay, gross national product, the value that we get, the income that we get, the money we earn by selling the goods and services produced by the three sectors within that year, within that particular financial year, we get the national income. Okay. So how will you calculate the average income? See, national income means the entire income of the people living in a country. Now we have to take out the income of one person living in a country. That is average income. Average income is also known as per capita income. Okay, so you can see that it's the ratio of total national income of a country with respect to total population. Total income with respect to total population. So formula that we people have, per capita income. To calculate the per capita income is total income of the country, total population of the country. This is the formula that we use in calculating the per capita income, or you can say the average income. Now students, I have taken one example here to compare the different states. See, we were comparing the developed country, underdeveloped countries or developed countries, and now in a state only, now we have will come within the state, within the country, we need to see the state-wise conditions also, state-wise position also. We have already studied individual to individual, we have studied country to country comparison we have done. Now we'll discuss about the state to state. Okay, what is the variations that we people have? Do every state is a developed state? Do every state has a better infrastructure? Do every state has all that facility that the other state is giving to their population? So that means here you can see that I have taken three different examples here, three different states. I have taken Punjab, Kerala and Bihar. You can see that student IMR, infant mortality rate, IMR per thousand of people. Okay, definitions I'll tell you later. When the children, okay, the children who are born on 1,000 of population, the live birth, the children who survive before the age of 1 and they don't die, and if they die before the age of 1 year, then the infant mortality rate would be low. Okay, you can see that if we have less death, high infant mortality rate, more number of children are dying on 1,000 of population. Okay, so here we have taken this is a census available, that is 2010. Literacy rate you already know, student. So we have here, we have a comparison of 2001 and this. Okay, it is in percentage. Net attendance ratio for the class given here, net total, okay, and per capita income. Okay, so first we'll see the per capita income. We'll see the per capita income. Punjab 60,746. Kerala 59,179 per capita income, per person income, one man's income in a year. Okay, and Bihar has 16,715. So when we talk about the per capita income, students, you can see here there is is a vast gap, there is a vast difference in the per capita income state-wise also. You can see that if we see Bihar, one man's total income, when we have taken the average, it's only income in the complete year, the per capita income is only 16,715. 16,715. And student, you can see that if we take up Punjab, it is 60,000. 60,746. There is a vast gap between the income of an individual. So by looking into the income of an individual, you can easily analyze, you can easily judge that the person of Punjab, an individual of Punjab, or a person is in a family, they must be living a very good life. Punjab people living a very good life, their better standard, livelihood, no problem with the food. Whereas with the population, when we see of Bihar and the income that we see and the basic facilities that we see, then you can see that 16,715, the average income or the per capita income is extremely low when we compare it with 60,000. And so there is a vast gap. 60,000 and 16,000, there is a vast gap between them. And then if we see Kerala and these people, Punjab, they don't have much difference, but Punjab is better than Punjab's people's income, better than Keralite people earning. You can see that a slight difference, but there is a difference. Okay. Now we'll see the other attributes, other aspects of the life. Of these three different states. Infant mortality rate. You can see that on 1,000 of population, 34 children died, 34 infant died. Okay. Whereas in Kerala, only 13 children died before the age of 1 year on 1,000 of population. Only 13, 34 and 48. 34, 13 and 48. This figure should be low because these are death on 1,000 of population. The 34 children, before reaching to the age of 1 year, they die. Before celebrating first birthday, they die. So here on 1,000, when we divide it with the 1,000, you can see 34% of the children, they die. Okay. If we divide this, only 13% children, they die. Okay. And here 48% children, they die. That almost 50% of the children who are born, newly born, before reaching to the age of 1, they may not be able to cope up, or they may suffer with many problems, ailment or any abnormality or a nutritional diet, or mother may not be able to feed them properly, may not be give them proper medical treatment that is required. So 50 almost, you can see that 48% of the children die before reaching to the age of 1 year. So you can see that in this context, if we see only infant mortality rate, forget about the per capita income, only infant mortality rate, then you can see that Kerala is at a better position than the Punjab. In per capita income, we were saying that Punjab is better than the Kerala. So here you can see that Kerala is much better than the Punjab. Okay, and then 48 is really very high figure, and his conditions would be really very low. Why? The infant mortality rate, I have already told you, health condition, basic facilities or dispensaries, the public health centers may not be very good. In Bihar, they may not get all that proper treatment or health facilities, or maybe the mothers may not be mother's health may not be very good, so that, or they may not be able to provide them that nutritional diet or the other treatments to the child when a new child is born. So the death toll may be very high in Bihar as compared to Kerala and Punjab. You can see that. Now we'll come to the another important attribute of the population. See, infant mortality rate is related to the population, literacy rate related to the population. So literacy rate, when a person is able to read and write at the age of 7, is able to read and write any of the language, the literacy, is able to write, he is able to read any of the language, maybe a mother tongue, he may be able to write and he can read also, then that person is literate person. We calculate above the 7 years of age, 7 years of age, if a person is able to read and write, that person is a literate person. So here we have, you can see that 70%, 91%, 47%. You can see the percentage. There is an increase, there is an increase, and there is an increase. Now in the literacy rate also you can see students. Literacy rate has to be high. This number has to be big number. If you have a big number, that means more of literacy rate. Whereas when we were talking about infant mortality rate, number has to be small. If your number is small, then only your medical health facilities are better and good. But here, when we are calculating the literacy rate, number has to be big number. Then your literacy rate, you can see that here. Kerala has a better education, better institution, people are more educated, people are more literate here in Kerala. And then we have Punjab. There's no doubt Punjab's national, their per capita income is high, but when we compare the other things, Punjab is lagging behind with Kerala. And you can see that in 2011, the literate population only 63%, 63.82% of the people are literate in Bihar. And here we have 76.68% of the people in Punjab, they are literate population. Whereas in Kerala we have 93.91% of the people are literate people. Okay, so this number here also you can see that in literacy rate, Kerala has won the battle. And then second number we have Punjab, and then we have the Bihar. Net attendance ratio of the class. You can see that we have taken the classes first to 5. How many children they attend. Net attendance. Okay, in the year. So we have 81, 91, and 41% of the children. Okay, here also you can see that figure is more, it's good, 81 and 41. So you can see that when we compare these three different states, the leaving this per capita income, Kerala has an edge over has an edge over the Punjab and Bihar, has an edge over the, has a better, at a better place, at a better level when we compare it with the Punjab and Bihar. So, but when we talk about the income, or the per capita income, this is slightly low, but Punjab has a better income. But when we talk about the other attributes of the life, infant mortality rate, children are also required, they should also have an healthy life. But you can see that more number of children are dying before reaching to the age of 1. So there is a question mark on the health facilities of the Punjab. So students, we have seen Punjab has a better facilities than Bihar. Bihar government should also take care about the education institutions, health facility that are needed to be provided to the people living in the state. If the economic condition of Bihar would be better, definitely the other basic infrastructure the government can easily provide. But if you can see the per capita income of Bihar, it's extremely low when we compare with the other two states, that is Punjab and Kerala. When we compare it with Kerala, there is a vast gap between the other infrastructure that is available in Bihar and Kerala. Educational institutions and the health facilities that is provided by the Kerala government, that is far better than the Bihar government or the Bihar infrastructural development. So talking about the development, we can see that Kerala is at the edge and at the better position, because we know that the condition in the Bihar, you can see it is at the bottom. If we take the IMR, Bihar is at the bottom and Kerala has the lowest infant mortality rate. And here you can see that literacy rate in Bihar, it's very low as compared to the Kerala or the Punjab. And among these three states, we can see that Kerala has the edge over, has a better position, has a better institution, and the infrastructural development in Kerala is far better than Bihar and Punjab. So students, now you can see that what is infant mortality rate and what is sex ratio, what is net attendance ratio, and what is literacy rate. Whatever three parameters that we have studied in the previous slide, infant mortality rate, IMR, literacy rate, and the net attendance ratio. And then you can see the sex ratio is also there. You can see that income and human development. When we talk about the World Bank, they says that income is the most important attribute of the country and the national income of a country. If national income of a country is higher, then per capita income is also good. But whereas when we see that the people's lifestyles, people's conditions, they may not be as better as the national income of a country. Government has to provide the other attributes also, other facilities also, basic civic amenities that are needed for the development of the individuals. So here you can see that Human Development Report HDR published by the UNDP. The Human Development Report that is published by the UNDP, United Nations Development Program, has highlighted United Nations Development Program. This is the organization that takes care of all these things, parameters, as with the income also, including the income also. Whereas the World Bank says that income is the only attribute to classify the countries. Whereas UNDP and the Human Development Report says that is published by the UNDP, United Nations Development Program, they says that other attributes, other parameters are also equally important with the income. Only income cannot be considered as the criteria to compare the different countries and the states. So here you can see that UNDP compares countries based on the educational level of the people and their health status and the PCI, the per capita income, PCI per capita income. So students, you can see that to develop a human, you already know that, and it is directly, there is a directly proportion to the income and the development. If the income is good, development would be there, no doubt. But who is going to earn the income? Who is going to develop the country? The human beings, the population living in that country. If humans would be developed, population of that state or a country would be developed, their educational status would be higher, if their health facilities would be good and they would be skilled, their scientific temperament is very high, then you can see that a country would be developed. If human development would be there, definitely national development would be there. If the people living in the country, they have a better lively conditions, so definitely a country would also have the development. There is nobody can stop the development of a nation. So you can see that infant mortality rate, it indicates the number of children that dies before the age of 1 year as proportion of thousands of lives. So we know that the Kerala has the lowest IMR, lowest infant mortality rate. The number of children died were only 13, whereas in Bihar it was 48. Literacy rate, it measures the proportion of literate population in the 7th and above age group. The people who are able to write above the age of 7 years, they are known as literate people. Net attendance ratio, it is the total number of children of age group 6 to 10. I have told you classes 1 to 5. 6 to 10 attending school as a percentage of total number of children in the same age group. So you can see that the net attendance ratio should be high. The children attending the classes, children attending the school should be higher of that particular age. Sex ratio, okay, you can see that it is the total number of male per thousand of males, total number of males on thousand of male. We have seen that due to the infanticides and the killing of the girl child, the sex ratio in many of the states like Haryana, Punjab, Delhi, it's very low. On thousand of population, you can see that Delhi has only 821. And so that is really low. So infant mortality rate and literacy rate, sex ratio and the net attendance ratio really plays a very important role in the development of a state. And if the state would be developed, automatically a nation would be developed. You can see that there is a difference between economic growth and economic development. Economic growth and economic development. You can see what is the meaning, what is the different scope, what are the indicators, how we are going to calculate it, measurement, their nature, country, reflection, process and possible. We already know that the growth is always, economic growth refers to the raise in the value of everything produced within the economy. Whereas what is economic development? Economic development is a process of rise in real national income due to structural changes for a long period of time. So economic development is broader concept. Economic development is a broader concept and it's you can see that when we have it is a narrow concept. It's a broader, it's narrow concept. You can see The economic growth is indicated by increase in GDP or the GNP. Growth relates to a gradual increase in one of the components of domestic product, consumption, government spending, investment, or the net export that we do with the different countries. Whereas in the economic development is indicated by the improvement in life expectancy, human development, and the other parameters. Development relates to the growth of human capital index, a decrease in inequality of income and wealth, and structural changes that improve the quality of the life. So there is a difference between economic growth and economic development. So students, every country has different economic growth and economic development, structural changes, structural development. If you have more of the development, the growth rate would be higher. Okay, growth, you can see that development is something different and growth is something different. Plant grows, but city never grows, city develops. Okay, so there is a difference between the economic growth and the economic development. So students, here we have seen that how we compare different countries and different states on different parameters. We have already seen in the previous video what the World Bank says and how the World Bank has made the classification of different countries. Now, according to the UNDP, we have also seen that there are many attributes are there, many parameters are there, many elements are there which really plays a very important role with income in the all-round development of a personality of an individual. Okay, students, you can see the assignment given here. Do it. Till then, stay safe. Thank you so much.